नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. Chapter 33, Activities of Kapila. Text 1. Sri Maitreya said, Thus Devhuti, the mother of Lord Kapila and wife of Kardama Muni, became freed from all ignorance concerning devotional service and transcendental knowledge. She offered her obeisances unto the Lord, the author of the basic principle of the Sankhya system of philosophy, which is the background of liberation, and she satisfied him with the following verses of prayer. Devhuti said, Brahma is said to be unborn because he takes birth from the lotus flower which grows from your abdomen while you lie in the ocean at the bottom of the universe. But even Brahma simply meditated upon you, whose body is the source of unlimited universe. My dear Lord, although personally you have nothing to do, you have distributed your energies in the interaction of material modes of nature. And for that reason, the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation take place. My dear Lord, you are self determined and are the Supreme Personality of Godhead for all living entities. For them, you created this material manifestation, and although you are one, your diverse energies can act multifariously. This is inconceivable to us. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you have taken birth from my abdomen. O my Lord, how is that possible for the Supreme One who has in his belly all the cosmic manifestation? The answer is that it is possible, for at the end of millennium you lie down on a leaf of a banyan tree, and just like a small baby, you lick the toe of your lotus feet. My dear Lord, you have assumed this body in order to diminish the sinful activities of the fallen and to enrich their knowledge in the devotion and liberation. Since these sinful people are dependent on your direction, by your own will, you assume no problem. You by your own will you assume incarnation as a boar and as other forms. Similarly, you have appeared in order to distribute transcendental knowledge to your dependents. To say nothing of the spiritual advancement of a person who see the Supreme Person face to face. Even a person born in a family of dog eaters immediately becomes eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices if he once utters the holy name of Supreme Personality of Godhead or chants about him, hears about his pastime, offer him obeisances, or even remember him. Oh, how glorious are they whose tongue are chanting your holy name. Even if born in the families of dog eaters, such persons are worshipable. Persons who chant the holy name of your Lordship must have executed all kinds of austerities and fire sacrifices and achieved all the good manners of the Aryans. To be chanting the holy name of your Lordship, they must have bathed at holy places of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas, and fulfilled everything required. I believe, my Lord, that you are Lord Vishnu himself under the name of Kapila, and you are Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Brahman. The saints and the sages, being freed from all the disturbance of the senses and mind, meditate upon you. For by your mercy, only can one become free from the clutches of the three modes of material nature. At the time of dissolution, all the Vedas are sustained in you only. Thus, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kapila, satisfied by the words of his mother, towards whom he was very affectionate, replied with gravity. The Personality of Godhead said, My dear mother, the path of self realization, which I have already instructed to you, is very easy. You can execute this system without difficulty, and by following it, you shall very soon be liberated, even within your present body. My dear mother, those who are actually transcendentalist certainly follow my instructions as I have given them to you. You may rest assured that if you traverse this path of self realization perfectly, Surely you shall be freed from the fearful material contamination and shall ultimately reach me. Mother, persons who are not conversant with this method of devotional service certainly cannot get out of the cycle of birth and death. Sri Maitreya said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Kapila, after instructing his beloved mother, took permission from her and left his home, his mission having been fulfilled. As instructed by her son, Devhuti also began to practice Bhakti Yoga in that very ashrama. She practiced Samadhi in the house of Kardama Muni, which was so beautifully decorated with flowers that it was considered the flower crown of the river Saraswati. She began to bath 3 times daily, and thus her curling black hair gradually became grey. Due to austerity, her body gradually became thin, and she wore old garments. The home and household paraphernalia of Kardama, who was one of the Prajapati, was developed in such a way by dint of his mystic power of austerity and yoga that his opulence was sometimes envied by those who travel in the outer space in airplanes. The opulence of the household of Kardama Muni is described herein. The bed sheets and the mattresses were all as white as the foam of milk. The chairs and the benches were made of ivory and were covered by cloths of lace with golden filigree, and the couches were made of gold and had very soft pillows. The wall of the house were made of first class marble, decorated with valuable jewels. There was no need of light, for the household was illuminated by the rays of these jewels. The female members of the households were all amply decorated with jewelry. The compound of the main household was surrounded by beautiful gardens with sweet, fragrant flowers and many trees which produced fresh fruit and were tall and beautiful. The attraction of such garden was that singing birds would sit on the trees and their chanting voices as well as humming sounds of the bees made the whole atmosphere as pleasing as possible. When Devhuti would enter that lovely garden to take her bath in the pond filled with lotus flowers, the associates of the denizens of heaven, the Gandharvas, would sing about Kardama's glorious household life. Her great husband, Kardama, gave her all protection at all times. Although her position was unique from all points of view, saintly Devhuti, in spite of all her possessions, which were envied even by ladies of the heavenly planets, gave up all such comforts. She was only sorry that her grandson was separated from her. Sorry, her great son was separated from her. Devhuti's husband had already left home and accepted the renounced order of life. And then her only son, Kapila, left home. Although she knew all the truths of life and death, and although her heart was cleansed of all the dirt, she was very aggrieved at the loss of her son, just as a cow is affected with when her calf dies. O Vidura, thus always meditating upon her son, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kapila Dev, she very soon became unattached to her nicely decorated home. Thereafter, having heard with great eagerness and in all detail from her son, Kapila Dev, the eternal smiling personality of Godhead, Devhuti began to meditate constantly upon the Vishnu form of Supreme Lord. She did so with serious engagement in devotional service because she was strong in renunciation. She accepted only the necessities of the body. She became situated in the knowledge due to the realization of absolute truth. Her heart became purified. She became fully absorbed in meditation upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all misgivings due to the modes of material nature disappeared. Her mind became completely engaged in Supreme Lord, and she automatically realized the knowledge of the impersonal Brahman. As a Brahman realized soul, she was freed from the designation of materialistic concept of life. Thus, all material pangs disappeared, and she attained transcendental bliss. Situated in eternal trance and freed from illusion, Impelled by the modes of material nature, she forgot her material body, and just as one forgets his different bodies in a dream. Her body was being taken care of by spiritual damsels created by her husband, Kardama, and since she has no mental anxiety at that time, her body did not become thin. She appeared just like a fire surrounded by smoke. Because she was always absorbed in the thoughts of Supreme Personality of Godhead, she was not aware that sometimes her hair was loosened or her garments was disarrayed. My dear Vidura, by following the principle instructed by Kapila, Devhuti soon became liberated from material bondage and achieved the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Supersoul without difficulty. The place where Devhuti achieved her perfection, my dear Vidura, is understood to be the most sacred spot. It is known all over the three worlds as Siddhapada. Dear Vidura, the material elements of her body have melted into water and are now a flowing river, which is the most sacred of all the rivers. Anyone who bathes in that river also attains perfection, and therefore all persons who desire perfection go bathe there. My dear Vidura, the great sage Kapila, the personality of Godhead, left his father's hermitage with the permission of his mother and went towards the northeast. While he was passing in the northern direction, all the celestial denizens, known as Charanas and Gandharvas, as well as the Munis and the damsels of heavenly planets, prayed and offered him all respect. The ocean offered him oblations and a place of residence. Even now, Kapila Muni is staying there in trance for the deliverance of conditioned soul in the three worlds. And all the acharyas or great teachers of the system of Sankhya philosophy are worshipping him. My dear son, since you have inquired from me, I have answered. O sinless one, the description of Kapila Dev and his mother and their activities are the purest of pure discourses. The descriptions of the dealings of Kapila Dev and his mother is very confidential, and anyone who hears or reads this narration becomes a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is carried by Garuda, and he thereafter enters into the abode of Supreme Lord to engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you. Thank
Hare
you for
Krishna. Yeah, thank you very much. How was it?
Yeah, Prabhuji, very nice. Bhagavatam is always very nice.
Yeah. What did you find quite interesting?
Yeah, actually, yeah, the prayers of Devhuti, Mother Devhuti, I liked. And towards the end, where it was stated that Kapila Dev went to towards the ocean. So that place from childhood, I have heard from my grandmother that okay, we go Ganga Sagar is a tirtha, but I never, just from her only I have heard, not from other people around that okay, Ganga Sagar is some tirtha. So when I heard, but I didn't know the significance. So while reading about it, also I was, yeah, I liked okay, this place is famous because Kapila Muni resides there forever.
Yeah. Very nice. So that's what shows that, yeah, coming from a spiritual background, you already are familiar with these things. Very nice.
No, Prabhuji, just for name, I knew, but no, like with you and with our group, I am learning the details. Just I know from top level. Okay, I have heard the name, but now I could connect it. Now I got the opportunity to connect it in the real sense. So yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. You are also seeing some blue lines on the browser?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Don't know how to get rid of it. Let me see.
Yes, Prabhuji, we also see it. Actually, I try to erase it using the eraser, but the eraser is not activated.
Now I could do it. Okay.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, let's begin. Om Gyan Timrandhasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshuramidam Gyana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupagadamayam Dadadi Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalan Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Anvitamscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Panchakalpatarabhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhavevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udhirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna. So we are reading the last chapter of the third canto, 33, Activities of Kapila. Here we get a chance to see what is the end effect of Sankhya philosophy. If one takes the path of Sankhya philosophy that we have read in last chapters, how one could attain perfection, and this is what we have the opportunity to learn. Vidura is asking and Maitreya is saying. So Maitreya is saying that Devahuti became freed from all ignorance concerning devotional service and transcendental knowledge. So this is very important that when we are doing something, then if we understand, is it really spiritual or material activity, that is first check. Yeah, because time is very short. Time is passing every moment. That cannot be recovered, that cannot be revisited, that cannot be revived. So that is the potency of the power. I don't know if Ram Raghav Prabhu, you may have come across this. Jayadvaita Maharaj is saying time is such a special entity that it is always there. It is always there, and the property of it doesn't bend for anyone. It doesn't bend. It doesn't. Okay, it is a king, so let me go slow, or it is a devatas. No, they may have a longer period of life, but still the time is same. And yeah, I mean, I'll look up also this session, Q&A session of His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj, where no, it is not Q&A, it was Bhagavatam recitation. Yeah, I'll try to find it up. Discussed about in detail about time aspect. But in our context here, we see that time is very precious, and once it's gone, it can't be brought back. So here we see that we should really be eager to acquire this knowledge so that we can go away from avidya, from the ignorance that is there. And the author is saying the basic principles of Sankhya philosophy. She offered her obeisances unto the Lord, the author of the basic philosophy, which is the background of liberation. In the verse number 30 or some 28, we will come to know what is the benefit that Devahuti got just by taking up to the Sankhya philosophy. And she satisfied him with the following verses of prayer. So here we see the importance that the more we delay our learning, that we will only kind of are missing the boat. The system of philosophy by Kapila Dev being before his mother is background for situation on the spiritual platform. Siddhi Bhumim. So people who are suffering in this material world because they are conditioned by material energy can easily get freedom from the clutches of matter by understanding the Sankhya philosophy. just by understanding in which place we are, just by discriminating, just by thoroughly understanding this is matter, this is not matter, what is the nature of matter, what will happen if we come in contact with matter, what is the influence of material energy, just all the signs that Kapila Dev has given in the Sankhya philosophy. We understand, then we get free from the clutches of matter. Why? Because then we understand that all our engagements should be in the direction of spiritual advancement, spiritual contact. By the system of philosophy, one can immediately become free even though one is situated in material world. Jivan Mukti. Huh? This is very, very important, that we are not planning only like, okay, last moment of my life, I remember Krishna, and if I remember Krishna, then I am getting freed up. So let me do that. No, what is happening is when our consciousness is absorbed in Krishna, absorbed in devotional service, then though we are living to the world, we are able to breathe, we are able to survive or live in this world, but still we are already attained liberation, mukti. We all are looking for a liberation so that we can experience bliss, we can experience happiness. And for that, we are not have to go to a higher planetary systems uh, like Satyalok, where there are pangs of pain are very less, so let's go there. No, even in this world, in spite of Kali Yuga 2022, where things we have seen so many ways how it is, the best approach is to absorb ourselves in this devotional service. So in this way here, then Devahuti is saying, Brahma is said to be unborn because he takes birth from the lotus flower, which grows. But even Brahma simply meditates upon you, whose body is the source of unlimited universes. So this is Aishwarya Bhav that Devahuti is glorifying. Mother Devahuti is glorifying that Brahma is called Aja, he is who is unborn. However, we think of someone's birth, there must be a material father and material mother. But in the case of Brahma, it is spiritual father, from the Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, the Vishnu form lying down in the ocean at the bottom of the universe. So we see that this Brahma is appearing from Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and Devahuti wanted to impress upon the Lord that when Brahma wants to see him, the Lord, he has to meditate. So that shows, and then the nature of Lord's gigantic form is explained, which says that it's transcendental, untouched by matter. So all these qualities of the Supreme Personality are given. You are the background of the material manifestation and all created energy. Therefore, because you have created, you are delivering me from the clutches of Maya by explaining the system of Sankhya philosophy. So, what is the purpose of knowledge? What is the purpose of attaining wisdom? What is the purpose of becoming unblinded by the illusory potency of the Lord? Is not just to be okay. Now I know I shouldn't panic. Now I should know that I am not worried. Now I should know that I am spirit soul. Just not that knowledge, but actually, what is the purpose? Is to engage in devotional service. You are delivering me from the clutches of Maya by explaining the system of Sankhya philosophy is not so astonishing. But you are being born from my abdomen is certainly wonderful, because although you are the souls of all creation, you have so kindly taken birth as my child. Your body is the source of all universe, and still you put your body within the abdomen of a common woman like me. To me, this is most astonishing. And in this connection, there is a mention of Vatapatra, the leaf, right? No, it comes in the next verse. So here she's further glorifying that potency. Of course, we'll not go in every detail, but here we see that by your diverse energies, creation, maintenance, dissolution take place. So behind an activity, there is the Shakti, the energy, with the power of this energy, by the um, potency of various energies of the Lord, everything is working. Yeah, you are self-determined and the Lord of all. This is inconceivable to us. So we may get just an idea that the Supreme Lord is all powerful, who is the one who is empowering all various activities. But still, it's inconceivable how everything is still working. That's the reason scientists are still struggling in all possible ways to come to this understanding, that Shabda Mula Tvat, he can be known through Shabda Brahman. But because we do not have this approach of learning everything which is inconceivable, hmm, that's why the technique itself is different, which is not always productive. Hmm. And in the purport, I mean, we came across this, but I'll once again read. Since the Lord is the supreme person of Godhead, for all living entities, He created this material manifestation for those living entities who want to enjoy or lord it over material nature. Just very, very analogical is, if there is a joint family, there is a joint family and joint business, but if there is only one shop uh, in or outlet, instead of working everyone at the same place, you would say, hey, if a person says, no, I want to also set up my own business, because if a person is thinking that, okay, in joint family, whatever we are earning, everything is being shared. So I have given 100% and some other sibling has given only 20%. But what is happening in the form of communism? Everything is equally distributed. This is very unfair. Let me be the enjoyer of what I am earning, and it is very fair. It's not unfair. For what I work, I have to enjoy. So the spirit is not only just here. The spirit is also in the spiritual world, where all of us were serving the Supreme Lord. But what happened is, because our interests have kind of gone in this direction that I would like to enjoy independently or lord it over, yeah, uh, outlet is open for us. The Father is opening an outlet saying, hey, okay, I'm opening a shop for you or a house for you. You just go there and you just settle yourself. So that's what is the material nature. Hmm? He arranges to fulfill their various desires. It is confirmed also in the Vedas. Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. Hmm? The Supreme One supplies the necessities of all many of the many living entities. There is no limit to the demands of different kinds of living entities, but the Supreme Lord is still arranging everything. Only the Lord alone maintains them and supplies them by His inconceivable energy. And this inconceivable aspect, Devotee is even saying that, hey, you see, Vishwam Vishwam Yuganta, at the end of the year, at the end of the millennium, when everything is going, I see you as Vatapatra Ekaha. So she's kind of isn't it very surprising that, hey, you are so great. Hmm? How is it possible for the Supreme One, who has in his belly all the cosmic manifestation, when the Supreme, all everything is within his belly? How is it possible? Just to think, it's not so easy to understand. Very difficult. The easy example is, we are talking about a banyan tree which is so huge, and a banyan tree is coming from a small seed. That itself is inconceivable. How come that is happening? What is the energy behind it? Hmm? Not only that, and then we are talking about devotee is saying that, okay, of course it's not so it can be possible. Why? Because at the end of the millennium, how are you? This is what Markandeya Rishi, he got the vision. He was asking, can you show me? Can you show me that form? And what form was that? This was the form on which Lord, who is the source of everything, who has created everything, everything is resting in him. Still, he was happily laying down on a banyan leaf. We are not talking about gigantic, its gigantic trunk on which the Lord is now on the branch. No, we are talking about on a leaf on which the Lord, as Vatapatrasai, is lying. And what is he doing? He is licking his own foot, toe of the foot. I don't know if it's. Yeah. There is this wonderful explanation which is it's here. Yeah. So here, this is what is happening. Therefore, Devata suggests you are lying down within the abdomen of a common woman like me is not so astonishing. Yeah. Lord doesn't have to pack up himself in such a small space. He can do it without any difficulty. Just imagine our struggle when we buy something, and when we are traveling, we want to bring it. We struggle a lot how to put it into a small baggage. It's a very big thing, and we can't put it in, and we struggle, we sweat, we do something. But here the Lord very happily, he appeared himself at the prayers of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. He took and he appeared as a son. So it is astonishing. At the same time, it is not astonishing when the devotee understands that Lord can do anything. In this case, the example of a cobbler and a Brahmana. When Narada Muni approached the Brahmana, when he said that the Lord is busy in pulling a thread from the eye of no, not thread. He was pushing a elephant into the eye of a needle. This is what Vishnu is doing. Hey, come on, how can Vishnu do that? It's very how can I trust it? How can I believe it? It's not logical. It doesn't click. How can a needle eye, which is very small, and elephant, and as soon as we know, we will not even try to do it. And Lord is super intelligent. When Lord is so intelligent, why will he try to do this, which is fruitless? Whereas the cobbler had, when he heard, then he said, "Wow, my Lord is wonderful, inconceivable. See, oh." And when Narada Muni asked, "Hey, do you believe it?" He said, "Yes. When a banyan tree can come from a banyan seed, which is a very, very small, but it evolves into a huge tree. What is so surprising? What is so surprising for him if he is doing this? Yeah, he can do it. Yeah. So that is the faith. So therefore, it is not very wonderful that you can lie down in the abdomen of my body. You teach us that those who are very fond of children within this material world and who therefore enter into marriage to enjoy family life with children can also have the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their child. And the most wonderful thing is that the Lord Himself licks His toe. Here, in this connection, the Lord licks His toe to taste the nectar for which the devotees always aspire. So we are always saying that there is something very, very mystical, highly addictive. What is that? The nectar at the lotus feet of the Lord. And it is discussed in so many ways, in so many conversations. Oh Lord, your lotus feet, your lotus feet. The Lord is also surprised. See what is so special of my lotus feet. So the Lord is taking in this Vatapatra Sai posture. You may have seen on a green leaf, the Lord, who is a baby, he is pulling his leg up and bringing his toe, and he's licking. He's tasting what? The Lord licks his toe to taste the nectar for which the devotees always aspire. Sometimes the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself wonders how much transcendental pleasure is within Himself. And in order to taste His own potency, He sometimes takes the position of tasting Himself. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna Himself, but He appears as a devotee to taste the sweetness of the transcendental mellow in Himself, which is tasted by Srimati Radharani. So this is what is very, very nice that Mother Devahuti is begging this. Hey, you are so inconceivable. Anyway, let's go a little faster. Yeah. So, and in the next verses, there is this explanation of very, very important. What is your body? It is mentioning that, my dear Lord, you have assumed this body in order to diminish the sinful activities of the fallen and to enrich their knowledge and devotion and liberation. So the Lord appears in every millennium. The Lord appears not only in every millennium in different kinds of avatars, in different expansions, plenary expansions, portions of plenary expansions in different forms. And Devavati is saying, why? Why did you appear? So that here the Lord is to diminish the sinful activities of the fallen. How is it happening? When we acquire the knowledge of devotion and liberation, then our activities will be corrected. Since these sinful people are dependent on your direction, by your own will, you assume incarnations as a boar and as other forms. Similarly, you have appeared in order to distribute the transcendental knowledge to your dependents. So in this way, here we see that the purpose of Lord's appearance is very clearly mentioned. At least the direct, what we can appreciate or what we want is, oh Lord, I'm in a lot of problems. I don't know what is right, what is wrong. I don't know what am I doing. Is it correct or not correct? All confusions, all illusions. Oh, I prefer to go to bed, sleep. I don't want to think all these things. And when we get up, again these things come. Until we get the knowledge of transcendental understanding, why everything is created, why I in first place am created in this world, all this knowledge, when this knowledge is there, then only then mm, um, then only we can attain our goal of life. So that's why the purpose of Lord appearing in this material world, in this material world. Yeah, the Lord who has innumerable servants in his spiritual world, what is the reason why he has to come here? Why? When the devotees are praying, oh Lord, please give your darshan, he comes. Or when people are crying, oh Lord, I don't know what am I doing, please guide me, then he comes in the form of spiritual master as Paramatma. So the Lord's purpose here is enlightening. That's what. But in the course of time, these living entities become so degraded that they need enlightenment. So for enlightening, the Lord is appearing. So just like we need the advisories. We need the advisories as soon as when we don't know what to do. So the Lord is personally coming and transcending. In a way, we could say that here transcending is from going from material to spiritual. But he, in spite of such a wonderful arrangements, services that are being offered, the Lord is still coming out from that normal, blissful, and coming especially to the world to enlighten people. Like, for example, Jesus Christ, as an Amsha of the Lord, who has come to enlighten, people so that we cannot continue thinking that this is the life. What is the life in those days? The life was eating meat, enjoying sex, um, uh, getting fully intoxicated, believing in some black or dark energies like shaitan, or sometimes not even caring for that. So the Lord appeared in the form, and then as a messenger of the Lord, in that form, he has passed this. What is the message? Messenger is doing is passing the message of the Lord. And what is the message? Is for enlightenment. So here, and then there are many incarnations of the Supreme Lord, like those of boar, the fish, the tortoise, the half lion, half man. Lord Kapila Deva is also one of the incarnations of the Lord. It is accepted here in that Lord Kapila Deva appeared on the surface of earth to give transcendental knowledge to the misguided conditioned souls. And then what will happen with this? This is very nice. This is what the purpose is clear. The purpose is clear, and to say nothing of the spiritual advancement of the persons. Here we are talking about what is a who can yen nama dheya. Shravananu Kirtanad. So by we have in Sanskrit or even in Hindi or in our own language we hear Kim Namadeya. Namadeya is one way we can say it's a name, but this Namadeya is not just only a name. We can understand why. What is the difference between Nama and Namadeya? Here it is to understand that this Namadeya is so high, uh, not spirit, prominent. Yen Namadeya Shravanad Kirtanad. What is happening? By chanting your holy name, it says that to say nothing of the spiritual advancement of persons who see the Supreme Person face to face, even a person born in a family of a dog eater, Chandala. In Namadeya Shravanad Kirtanad Yat Prahvanad Yat Smaranad Api Kvachit. Just by remembering Swadopi Sadya Savanaya Kalpate Kutah Punaste Bhagavan No Darshanat. Just by that process, one can have darshan of the Lord. Dog eaters immediately become eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices if he once utters the holy name of the Supreme Lord or chants about him, hears about his pastimes, offers his obeisances, or even remembers him. So, what a revelation for us! Huh? What a revelation! Yeah, we think bhakti is very very difficult. Bhakti, yeah, is very difficult because yes, you have to wake up in the Brahma Muhurta, take a cold shower, and then mm, get ready with Aradhana, with all the Archana procedures like okay, arrange the diya, arrange the lamps, arrange all the 16 items that are required to worship the Lord. So this kind of devotional process will take us 1 hour, maybe 2 hours, and slowly we think, oh, it's too difficult. But here we see a very, very shortcut, but a very sure shortcut and also very powerful. What is it? Just by taking the holy name of the Lord very sincerely, even if one thinks, oh, no, 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 I am so degraded, I cannot take the name of the Lord, otherwise I'll commit offenses. Hear about his pastimes, offer him obeisances, or even remembers him. Shravanad Kirtanad of what? Yan Namadheya. That is such a potent means through which one can transcend all these limitations or this conditioning and can attain spiritual advancement. So, this is what Rupa Goswami has discussed the sequence of sinful activities of conditioned soul in Nectar of Devotion. That those who engage in devotional service become freed from the reactions of all sinful activities. Sinful activities won't go just if we are doing ritualistic processes or if we just go to a tirtha and then have a holy dip in the rivers. No, that will only clear, but the propensity is still there. Only when one is engaging in devotional service, which is a process of purification of our consciousness, then we will stop committing sinful activities. Another consideration here is that persons who are purified by the process of chanting and hearing become immediately eligible to perform Vedic sacrifice. So, if one aspires to become a Ritvik, that yes, I want to do this very nice, golden, effulgent fire sacrifices. You see, what happens is pakka pronunciation of all the mantras, and when I'm pronouncing all these mantras, and the time comes when I can offer ahuti, or when I'm able to directly serve Vishnu. Uh, I want to become that. Even for that, it is not only important that we are learning all the mantras uh, as a mechanical means, that we see that okay, what is the meaning of it? we are not taught in our Gurukul the meaning of it. We are only taught how to pronounce them perfectly. Well, that may have a potency, but just imagine by becoming a devotee, he is also qualifying himself to become or a Brahmana who can do this Vedic sacrifices. Generally, only a person who is born in a family of Brahmana who has been reformed by 10 kinds of purificatory processes, samskara, and who is learned in Vedic literature is allowed to perform the Vedic sacrifices. So we are talking about this samskaras, the samskaras which have to be done in a very pure consciousness, in a pure, what do you call, dravyas, pure paraphernalia or ingredients. Then the sanskaras have also this potency that they can purify us. Right from the Garbhadan sanskar to Shraddh sanskar, all these have to have in very high quality. If not, there is not so much guarantee that these are purifying a person. Yeah? But here the word is sadhya, immediately. And Sridhar Swami also remarks that one can immediately become eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices. How? Just, it doesn't matter where a person is born, whether a person is born in a low caste which is accustomed to eating dogs. He is so positioned due to his past sinful activities, but by chanting or hearing once impureness or in an offenseless manner, he is immediately relieved of all sinful reactions. Not only is he relieved of sinful reaction, but he immediately achieves the result of all purificatory processes. Now, dear devotees, every one of us, when we know such an important secret, that jewel that we understand, okay, of course, come on, we are not eating meat, we are not dog eaters, we are not drinking. All these good qualities are bestowed somehow by the grace of the Lord in us. But there is also, if we are not envious, there is also such a shortcut available not only for us, for everyone. Even one who is not born in a Brahmin family is not rejected. Is not. It's not that he's not eligible. Everyone is eligible as long as they can at least once take the name of the Lord, at least once purely. So we have to see every opportunity to at least, if one person is not in a position to understand all the philosophy, that is okay. Let them utter at least once the holy name of the Lord, which has the potency of all the purificatory process, and they can even be eligible to perform the fire sacrifices like brahmanas. So in our families, in our friend circle, we have to see, okay, there are so many. Oh, we say, no, they can't. No, but there is a possibility of everyone. Just what they have to do, we have to encourage them only one process, japa. If they do the japa, of course, we can guide them how to do a proper japa. And in that guidance, when they take up to japa process, their advancement is very, very rapid. And we are very fortunate to be part of such a family or such a friends or such a society, because when everyone is advancing, it's a better place for us to live. And not only that, it inspires us to also become more better. Taking birth in the family of Brahmana is certainly due to pious activities in one's past life, but still a child who is born in a family of Brahmana depends for his further reformation. It's not that now I have become a devotee, I know that I should not eat meat, I know that I should not gamble, I know that I should not indulge in illicit sex, I know everything, but knowing doesn't mean anything. Even if we are born, even if we have such a nice base, but still we have to take up to the reformatory process of further purifying. But a person who chants the holy name of the Lord, even if born in a family of Chandala dog eaters, does not need reformation. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna, he immediately becomes purified and becomes as good as the most learned Brahmana. So here it's very important. It's important that there is no prayaschitta process explicitly required by a devotee. When he is constantly absorbed in thinking of the Lord and engaging in the chanting of the Lord, that is going to take care of everything. We don't have to think, what is the prayashchita? Prayashchita is recommended in Karma Kanda, that if you do this, you have to do that. If you do that, you have to do this. So many things. The only thing as a devotee, what we should do is we don't commit 10 offenses to the holy name. And if we commit offenses to them, try to approach the solution, taking the support of the solution, come out of such offense, and that itself, then engage again in the chanting of the holy name. That will do everything. And here it's mentioned. Sridhar Swami especially remarks in this connection, Anena Pujatvam Lakshyate. Some caste Brahmanas remark that by chanting Hare Krishna, purification begins. Of course, that depends on the individual process of chanting, but this remark of Sridhar Swami is completely applicable if one chants the holy name of the Lord without offense. For he immediately becomes more than a Brahmana. As Sridhar Swami says, Pujyatvam, he immediately becomes as respectable as a most learned Brahmana and can be allowed to perform Vedic sacrifices. If simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord one becomes sanctified instantly, then what can be said of those persons who see the Supreme Lord face to face and who understand the descent of the Lord as Devahuti? Huh? So here we see, and usually initiation depends on the bona fide spiritual master who directs the disciple. If he sees that a disciple has become competent and purified by the process of chanting, he offers the sacred thread to the disciple just so that he will be recognized as 100% equal to a Brahman. This is also confirmed in Hari Bhakti Vilas by Sri Sanatana Goswami as a base metal like bell metal can be changed into gold by a chemical process. Any person can similarly be changed into a Brahmana by Diksha Vidhana. And again, this about sanskaras and all the reformatory processes. This purport 6 and 7, we are here to discuss 7, are very, very nice. Yeah, if you get time, please read the purports of these two. Oh, how glorious! Yeah, yeah. Batasva pacho to gariyan. What is happening is, aho batasva pacho to gariyan. Yaj jihvagre vartate nama tubhyam. The potency of the holy name. Tepus tapastu tepus tapaste juhuvo sashnur arya brahmanuchar nama grananti yete. Here is saying, oh, how glorious are they whose tongues are chanting your holy name. Even if born in the family of dog eaters, such persons are worshipable. Persons who chant the holy name of the Lord, your Lordship, must have executed all kinds of austerities and fire sacrifices and achieved all the good manners of Aryan. To be chanting the holy name of your Lordship, they must have bathed at holy places of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas, and fulfilled everything required. So this says that, okay, what a person, a devotee is, he is beyond even the level of Brahmana. He's completely above that. Why? Because it is considered that he has already done everything. That's why he is in such a great position. One should not be astonished by the statement of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. One should not disbelieve. This is what happens. Amala Puran is that there is no spot, there is no error, there is no dirt, there is no, so to say, creation. It's absolute truth. Amala Puran it's spotless. But what is happening? Our faith is spotty. We have our faith which is contaminated or which is compromised from a purity level, and due to which we think that, hey, is it real? Come on. I can't believe it. I see that the whole Vedic learning, Sama Veda, Yajurveda, Atharvana, all these Vedas are telling that one should come to that level by great rigorous that, and then only he can become. No, but the process here we see that even if one is able to do the chanting, everything is also done automatically. how by chanting the holy name of Lord can one become a holy man to be compared to the most elevated Brahman? It's very difficult to understand, right? Huh? To eradicate such doubts in the minds of unbelievers, this verse affirms the stage of chanting the holy name of the Lord is not sudden, but that the chanter have already performed all kinds of Vedic rituals and sacrifices. It is not very astounding for no one in this life can chant the holy name of the Lord unless he has passed all the lower stages, such as performing Vedic ritualistic sacrifices. So that's how when we are in this, and if a person is taking it to chanting, it means he is not an ordinary person at any measure levels. He already has done all these things. All this must first have been done, just as a student in a law class is to be understood to have already graduated from general education. Anyone who is engaged in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, must have already passed all lower stages. It is said herein that Nama, a singular number, one name, Krishna or Rama, is sufficient. One. It is not that one has to chant all the holy names of the Lord. The holy name of the Lord are innumerable, and one does not have to chant all the names to prove that he has already undergone all the process of Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. If one chants once only, it is to be understood that he is already passed all examinations, not to speak of those who are chanting always 24 hours a day. It is specifically said here, Tubhyam, unto you only. One must chant God's name not as Mayavad philosopher says, any name, such as demigod's name or the name of goddess energies. Only the holy name of the Supreme Lord will be effective. Anyone who compares the holy name of the Supreme Lord to the names of the demigods is called Pashandi or an offender. I don't know, did I read it yesterday or there was a context where one is asked to take up to holy name, chanting of the holy name. Yeah, I think it is in the Back to Godhead magazine. There it is mentioned that Prabhupada is saying that okay, take to the holy name. Not Prabhupada disciples were saying. And they were even saying that hey, it doesn't have the same potency as if like if you are doing Queen Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth. Yeah. But did we come across yesterday itself? I think, right? In the Prabhupada numbers, I think we came across.
Yes, Prabhuji. Alan, I think Alan questions Prabhupada.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not any name, but it is the name of the Supreme Lord which is bestowed with all potencies of the Lord Himself. That's why we say the name and the Lord are non-different. The holy name has to be chanted to please the Supreme Lord and not for any sense gratification or professional purpose. So we have to understand that okay, if I do japa, then all my problems are gone. No, that is not the motivation. The motivation is not for our pleasure. It's not that okay, our relief. If this pure mentality is there, that then even though a person is born of a low family, he is so glorious that not only has he purified himself, but he is quite competent to deliver others. He is competent to speak on the importance of the transcendental name, just as Haridas Thakur. Again, as I said, so this verse 6 and 7 gives us very deeper and clear understanding. The word Jehovah, not Jehovah, Juhu means the chanter of the holy name have already performed all kinds of sacrifices. Sashnu means that they have already traveled to all the holy places of the pilgrimage and taken part in purificatory activities at those places. They are called Arya because they have already finished all these requirements and therefore they must be among the Aryas or those who have qualified themselves to become Aryans. Aryan means civilized. Any devotee who is chanting the holy name of the Lord is the best kind of Aryan. The special word used here is anuch, which means that because they have already completed all these recommended acts, they have become qualified to be spiritual masters. So in that way, I mean, there is this purport is so nice. Yeah, we could go through that, and then we'll go a little faster the next verses so that we can go to the last 8 verses, which are very nice. I believe, my Lord, that you are Lord Vishnu himself under the name of Kapila, and you are the supreme Lord, personality. The saints and sages, being freed from all disturbances, meditate upon you. At the time of dissolution, all the Vedas are sustained in you only. So, and so 8th verse is saying that, hey, you are Vishnu, you are Brahma, you are the supreme person, you are the object of meditation of pure mind, purified minds. And then you are the repository of the Vedas. So, and then now Kapila Muni is giving the final instructions. Thus, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, satisfied by the words of his mother, towards whom he was very affectionate, replied with gravity. And here we see that satisfaction of the Lord is very important. If we approach a person and if the person is not satisfied, and if we expect, hey, please give me, this is what happens. Prabhupada refers many examples that someone is having some interest. He's coming here only to Prabhupada, that he also wants spiritual benefit, but is not interested in that. He wants it very easily. So, and Prabhupada asks him to wait, or he doesn't care him. Then the person is kind of quite disturbed, and he thinks, hey, what is this? No, one has to satisfy. When we refer this Sadvidhi Pranipatena, Variprashnena Sevaya, Upadeshyanti Te Gnanam, Jnananas Tattva Darshinaha. So this verse is so much relevant that one should serve, and by service a person is satisfied. And when a person is satisfied by the service of a person, he doesn't want to have these facilities, enjoyment and satisfaction. He understands that he has a serious responsibility of taking care of the person, enlightening him. And this is what happens here. Kapila Muni is completely satisfied by Devahuti, her prayers, and then he speaks the following: my dear mother, the path of self-realization is I have already instructed to you, is very easy. So that is the position. For us it's very, very difficult, but the Lord is saying it's very easy. What I have taught you, this, if you just follow this, then it's enough. As Prabhupada said, it is simple for the simplest, means simplest for the simple. If we are simple people, we can really appreciate this very simple. You can execute this system without difficulty, and by following it, you shall very soon be liberated, even within your personal body. And then there is this word. Yeah, Jivan Mukta again comes. Or one who is liberated even with his material body. Sometimes doubts arise in the mind of neophytes about whether or not the spiritual master is liberated. Come on, now what will happen if I take a shelter of a spiritual master? I don't know whether is he Prishta Sakhi or close associate of the Lord who is always liberated. But I think no. Sometimes doubts arise in the mind of neophytes about whether a spiritual master is liberated, and sometimes neophytes are doubtful about the bodily affairs of the spiritual master. The point of liberation, however, is not to see the bodily symptoms of the spiritual master. So one has to see the spiritual master's symptoms one has to see the spiritual symptoms of the spiritual master. Jivan Mukta means that even though one is in the material body, there are still some material necessities, since the body is material. Because one is fully satisfied in the service of the Lord, he should be understood to be liberated. Liberation entails being situated in one's own position. What is actually liberation means? Not to lose complete identity. No, to come to this identity that I am the servant. That is the definition of the Lord. Muktir Swarupena Vyavasthiti. The Swarupa, or the actual identity of the living entity, is described by Lord Chaitanya. Jivera Swarupa Hai Krishnera Nitya Das. The real identity of the living entity is that he is eternally a servitor of the Supreme Lord. If someone is 100% engaged in service of the Lord, he is to be understood as liberated. Liberation means it's not that not acting, not working, not thinking, not doing. That will come in the last verses, because Lord Kapila is also giving nirvana. I mean, this is what Devahuti, Mother Devahuti attains. We'll talk about what is nirvana. One must understand whether or not he is liberated by his activities in the devotional service, not by other symptoms. So, how to appreciate a person, how to appreciate a spiritual master, not by his bodily symptoms, but by his spiritual symptoms. How much ruchi he has to Krishna, how much dedication he has for Krishna's message, how much eagerness he has to spread this message to everyone, how much sacrifices he is making to um, uh, uh, compassionately for the welfare of the fallen souls. So that's how we see. And then what is happening? There was this further saying, not only liberation Kapila Muni is saying, my dear mother, those who are actually transcendentalists certainly follow my instructions as I have given them to you. So, which means transcendentalists, if one want to become, we follow these principles. You may rest assured that if you traverse this path of self-realization perfectly, surely you shall be freed from fearful material contamination and shall ultimately reach me. This is what happens also. Maitreya Rishi is going to tell. Mother, persons who are not conversant with this method of devotional service, what happens to them? Cannot get out of the cycle of birth and death. In the purport, Prabhupada is mentioning, persons who don't take it serious, what is happening is they have to go through the cycle of death, or birth, or have to die. Material existence is full of anxiety. There is itself fear. Therefore, it is fearful. One who gets out of this material existence automatically becomes free from all anxieties and fear. One who follows the path of devotional service enunciated by Lord Kapila is very easily liberated. So, in speaking so, and then Maitreya is saying, Lord Kapila took permission from his mother and left home. So, this is what the mission of appearance of the Lord in the form of Kapila was, to distribute the transcendental knowledge of Sankhya philosophy, which is full of devotional service. Having imparted that knowledge to his mother and through his mother to the world, Kapila Dev had no more need to stay at home. So he took permission from his mother and left. Apparently, he left home for spiritual realization. It's not that okay. He immediately disappeared. We see where what Kapila Muni did, where he went and where he stayed. Therefore, this is an example set by the Supreme Personality of Godhead while acting like an ordinary human being. So, to set us, to show us what we should do. It's not that we want to be entangled or we want to be just conditioned in this family affair forever. We also heard in the context of Parikshit Maharaj, we will also hear in the context of King Bharat, that there is a period, and what is that? There is a brahmacharya, sannyasa or vanaprastha, and one who is in grihastha ashram, they have to elevate themselves to take a vanaprastha or sannyas. It is best to remain alone as brahmachari, sannyas or vanaprastha and cultivate Krishna consciousness through one's whole life. Those who are unable to remain alone are given license to live in household life with wife and children, not for sense gratification, but for cultivation of Krishna consciousness. So it is only for this exception, or that one can say, okay, they can stay in Grihastha ashram forever, but again, for what? Not for sense enjoyment, but for cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, the recommended is to stay in as a brahmachari for life, Naishtika brahmachari, or what is the second option? Is to get into vanaprastha ashram, which means if one has taken grihastha ashram as shelter, upadhi, then one gradually detaches at certain after the responsibilities, winding up the responsibilities soon. Not kind of, no, I have responsibility until 70 years, I still have to take care of that or this or him or her. No, to plan such a way that we could get into that phase of vanaprastha ashram, or after understanding the science of Godhead and coming to the level of sannyas and lead a sannyas life. And what is the purpose of sannyas life? It is not the what is it? Bhajananandis only, yeah. But the best thing of the Kali Yuga is Goshtanandi, to go and preach. Sannyasis, what is that? Parivajagacharya, that they don't be in any place for more than a few days or even a day, but only keep on traveling and preaching. So by that, one is successful. But if one householder, because of some reasons, because of responsibility of, okay, no one is there to take care of grandchildren, neither her son or daughter, his son or daughter, okay, he has to take care of the child, or I mean, I'm just giving an example. But if a obligation still exists, then one could stay in the grahastha ashram, but very carefully understand that it's not for sense enjoyment. It is not for seeing, hey, how my grandchildren are advancing, and then because of that I am experiencing great pleasure in their material achievements. No, it is only for the needy. If there is no need, then one has to move on. As Prahlad Maharaj says, Vanam Gati, which is called Vrindavan. Okay, so then goes the next one. So here, Devahuti achieved perfection, and this is what is discussed here. So we will read. Yeah. So from 13. Yeah. So as instructed, now Devahuti began to practice Bhakti Yoga in that very ashram. She practiced Samadhi in the house of Kardama Muni, which was so beautifully decorated. She began to bath thrice, 3 times daily, and thus her curling black hair gradually became grey. Anyway, these all descriptions, yeah, are not so. What should I say? Are not so. Helping us to develop. Let me say again. So these verses are giving a details of what is how Devahuti was changing in her while she was absorbed totally in Krishna consciousness in her bhakti yoga, while performing bhakti yoga. These are side note rather than the main note. The main note, yeah, I think that is the word, is to come to this. There is also. Although her position was unique from all point of view, saintly Devahuti. See here. So although her position was unique from all points of view, saintly Devahuti, in spite of all her possessions, which were envied even by the ladies of heavenly planets, gave up all such comforts. She was only sorry that her great son was separated from her. So all attachments, she had no attachments. As this reminds me of an example when a lady was serving Ramanujacharya. Anyway, so the point here is that Devahuti was so much absorbed in devotional service. It may be questioned here that if Devahuti was not at all sorry to give up the material comforts of life, then why was she sorry about losing her son? Why was she so attached to her son? The answer is explained next verse. He was not an ordinary son. Her son was Supreme Lord. One can give up the material attachment. The purpose of giving all the attachments is for what? Param Drishtva Nivartate. What is that Param Drishtva? If we are not even having that goal to see when the Lord, I'm doing all the parityaga. I'm giving up everything. I'm sacrificing everything. I don't want anything. In that living in that business, if we even say I don't even want God, what is the purpose of doing all these things? No. Uh, only when one actually has some taste for spiritual existence can he be reluctant to follow the materialistic ways. So we should understand that is very, very important. It's not giving up everything. Like I don't want anything. I understand this world is mithya, jagan mithya, hmm? And that's why I give up everything. Then what are we going to do? If I give up everything, will it solve the problem? No. We have to give up, but at the same time have deep connection, establish deep connection to the Lord. And here Vanam, here he says that Devati's husband has already left home and accepted renounce order, and his son also left home. Although she knew all the truths of life and death, and although her heart was cleansed of all dirt, she was very aggrieved at the loss of her son, just as a cow is affected when her calf dies. A woman whose husband is away from home or has taken the renounced order of life should not be very sorry, because she still has the presence of her husband's representative, her son. It is said in Vedic scriptures, Atmaiva Putro Jayate. The husband's body is represented by the son. Strictly speaking, a woman is never widowed if she has a grown son. Devahuti was not very much affected while Kapila Muni was there, but upon his departure she was very afflicted. She grieved not because of her worldly relationship with Kardama Muni, but because of her sincere love for the personality of Godhead. The example given here is that Devahuti became just like a cow who has lost her calf. A cow bereft of her calf cries day and night. Similarly, Devahuti was aggrieved. Please bring my son home so that I may live. Hmm? Otherwise, I shall die. Hmm? And she always cried and requested her friends like this. This intense affection of the Supreme Person of Godhead, although manifested as affection for one's son, is spiritually beneficial. So that is even I'm sorry, every woman can qualify herself as much as Devahuti, and then can also have the Supreme Godhead as her son. So if one has aspiration, yeah, one can pray to the Lord, oh Lord, please give me a child uh, who is like you, or you yourself appear, or you send your energy, or you send your representative. One can pray in so many ways, and Lord is pleased. Hmm? If one gets the Supreme Lord as son, one can have the benefit of bringing up a nice son in this world, and at the same time get promotion to the spiritual world, just like in the case of Devahuti. And then after this, yeah, so now Maitra is saying, oh Veera, thus always meditating upon her son. What is happening? She very soon became unattached to her nicely decorated home. So this is what happens, yeah, when we really attach ourselves to the most wonderful form of Lord in the form of devotional service. We are not so much attached to our home. Then we think, hey, even if it is an ashram, or is it if it is a village, or if it is a forest, it doesn't matter. Why? Because we have appreciated the worship to the Lord. Thereafter, having heard with great eagerness and in all details from her son, Kapiladev, Devahuti began to meditate constantly upon the Vishnu's form of the Supreme Lord. So here we see that Devahuti, Devahuti is praying in the form of in the Vishnu's form of the Lord. Why? Because she knows there is no difference between sun and the Vishnu's form, and the meditation process that whatever Kapila Muni has shown, has taught her, she just followed that. And Devahuti's attachment, she did so with what? With great seriousness, because she was strong in renunciation. She accepted only the necessities of the body. She became situated in knowledge due to realization. Her heart became purified. She became fully absorbed in meditation upon the Supreme Lord, and all misgivings due to mode of material nature disappeared. Her mind became completely engaged in the Supreme Lord, in the Supreme Lord, and she automatically realized the knowledge of impersonal Brahman. As a Brahman realized soul, she was freed from the designation of materialistic conception of life. So her mind became fixed upon Bhagavan. And then she automatically realized the knowledge of Brahman. Why? Because when she has fixed in the form of the Lord, then automatically what is happening? She is also fixed in the energy of the Lord. She attained bliss and all material pangs disappeared as she was freed from material designations. So here we see that Devahuti, just because she has focused on the Swarupa, yes, the word. Yeah, in Brahma Murta Prasanna. Dehuti was fully instructed by her son on how to concentrate her mind on the Vishnu's form in full detail. Following the instructions of her son in the matter of devotional service, she contemplated the form of the Lord within herself with great devotional love. That is the perfection of Brahman realization or mystic yoga system or devotional service. At the ultimate issue, when one is fully absorbed in thought of Supreme Lord and meditates on Him constantly, that is the highest perfection. And so here we understand that the dhyana that she is performing is not just like a concoction, but it's properly based on the teachings of Kapila Muni. Devahuti was expert in accepting real substance. She contemplated the form of Vishnu in detail as advised by her smiling son Kapila. At the same time, she was thinking of Kapila, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore she completely perfected her austerities, penances, and transcendental realization. So, and then the change of her body. I mean, this is why her body was being taken care by spiritual damsels. So arrangement was there, and since she had no mental anxieties at home at the time, her body did not become thin. Because she was always absorbed. She she was not aware that sometimes her hair was loosened or her garments were disarrayed. So that is the stage where when one gets absorbed. It is not how beautifully we are, so that others appreciate it. When one comes to a higher position in Krishna consciousness, then they are not so keen about what others will think about them or what others will think about their process or their institution. They see that so much absorbed. It is not that they don't care, but because of their absorption increases so much, they are not so much careful of how they are looking externally. My dear Vidura, by following the principles instructed by Kapila, Devahuti soon became liberated from material bondage and achieved the supreme personality of Godhead as super soul without difficulty. And here we see there is a very nice Daiva Guptam. Is it here coming? Which one is that? Daiva Guptam is 29. Yeah, one verse before. Yeah, anyway, so this is what I was referring. Yeah, so much absorbed. In this verse, the word Daiva Guptam, protected by the Supreme Lord, is very significant. And this is our assurance. Our assurance is that the Lord protects his devotees. And here we see that the Supreme Lord takes care of maintenance of innumerable species of bodies. Therefore, one who fully engages in his service will not go unprotected by the Supreme Lord. Usually we are worried, oh, what will happen if I am becoming a devotee, it's a dangerous business, because if I become a devotee, who is going to take care of me? Because in this world, if I go out, if I work, if I earn money, then only I can live. Otherwise, no. Lord is devotee. For devotees, Lord is always their caretaker. And what about family? Come on. I have the responsibilities of family. I have the responsibility of my children. I have the responsibility of my parents. I have the responsibility of my community, country. So all these things are taken care. We don't have to worry. If we aspire to become sincere devotee, the Supreme Lord takes care of the maintenance of innumerable species of bodies, isn't it? The Lord is anyway taking care. What is there that because of we doing something only the care is given? No. Devahuti was naturally unmindful of the protection of her body, which was being taken care by the Supreme Person. So that is what Bhagavatam will give us the confidence, the assurance that the Lord is our shelter, that He is going to take care of everything. Only thing is, in this life, we have given so many lives to so many things and so many interests. This life, let's give ourselves 100% to Krishna. So in this way, we understand this is important. And then by following the principle instructed by Kapila, Devahuti soon became liberated. And also, not only that, you see, she attained everything, became liberated from material bondage, nirvana, achieved the supreme personhood of Godhead as super soul without difficulty. Is it coming here? Atmanam Brahma Nirvanam Bhagavantam Avapaha. So here, three words have been used in this connection to describe the achievement of Devahuti. Atmanam, Atmanam, Brahma Nirvanam, and Bhagavantam. So these are three realizations which these refer to the gradual process of discovery of absolute truth, mentioned herein as Bhagavantam. The personhood of Godhead resides in various Vaikuntha planets. Nirvana means to extinguish the pangs of material existence. So when we see in Buddhism, we come across Nirvana. The stage of Nirvana, according to Buddhism, is attained by cessing from everything in this world. Just go in a trance. Just think that you are not this body. Focus on that void and stay in that forever. The body is physically breathing. The body is alive. But as long as the body is alive and you connect with the body, then what is happening? You are again prone to the sufferings. So come to the point that you are not this body, but what you are? The soul. But where is it? How can we realize it? In the, what is it called? Voidness. So nirvana means to extinguish the pangs of material existence. When one is able to enter into the spiritual kingdom or into the spiritual realization, one is automatically freed from material pangs. That is called Brahma Nirvana. According to Vedic scripture, nirvana means a cessation of the materialistic way of life. Atmanam, Atmanam means realization of the super soul within the heart. Ultimately, the highest perfection is the realization of the supreme personality of Godhead. It is to be understood that Devahuti entered the planet which is called Kapila Vaikuntha. Kapila Vaikuntha, where is it? It's also described here. But there is this so many innumerable Vaikuntha planets, and each of it has its own unique name. And this planet that she entered is Vaikuntha, Kapila Vaikuntha. As we understand from Brahma Samhita, Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam, Ananta means innumerable. The Lord has innumerable expansions of His transcendental form, and according to the different positions of the symbolic representation in His four hands, He is known as Narayana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Vasudeva. There is also a Vaikuntha planet known as Kapila Vaikuntha, to which Devahuti was promoted to meet Kapila and reside there eternally, enjoying the company of her transcendental son. So, if one is aspiring that they should not want separation from their children, Just if we have to pray, we pray that, oh Lord, you appear as my son, and then when we are perfect, then we end up in that Vaikuntha planet. If we aspire for it, then we can be in the company of. Here we see this. So, so in this way, in this way, we see that Devahuti by this process has attained what? Siddha Pada, which is understood to be most sacred spot. And then, dear Vidura, the material elements of her body have melted into water. The material body has melted into water, and what happened? Are now a flowing river, which is the most sacred of all rivers. I think I was looking up what is the name. No, there was a name for this river. No, I'll check. I came across somewhere. Someone knows it? Someone? Okay. So Kapilo Mahayogi. So now, my dear Vidya, the great sage Kapila left his father's hermitage with the permission of his mother, went towards northeast, and now we see where did Kapila Muni go to the northeast, and then Samudrena. Where is this ocean? Ganga Samudra. I think that's where. While he was passing in the northern direction, all the celestial denizens known as Chanaras and Gandharvas, as well as the Munis and damsels of heavenly planets, prayed and offered him all respect. The ocean offered him oblations and place of residence. And in the purport we come across. See. It is understood that Kapila Muni first went towards Himalayas, northeast, and traced the course of river Ganges. And then he again came to the delta of Ganges, at the sea now known as Bay of Bengal. The ocean gave him residence at a place still known as Ganga Sagar, where the river Ganges made the sea. That place is called Ganga Sagara Tirtha, and even today people like Varsanila Mataji gather there to offer respects to Kapila Dev, the original author of Sankhya system of philosophy. Unfortunately, and this is the reason I opened up this purport. Unfortunately, this Sankhya system has been represented by an impostor, a cheater, who is also known as Kapila. But that other system of philosophy does not tally with anything described in the Sankhya of Kapila in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And then, yeah, then this is out, and he says. So even now Kapila Muni is staying there in trance for deliverance of conditioned souls in the three worlds, and all the acharyas or great teachers of Sankhya philosophy are worshipping him. And here saying, my dear son, so Maitreya is affectionately saying, Vidura, I have answered your question because you asked. O sinless one, the description of Kapila Dev and his mother and their activities are the purest of all pure discourses. The description of dealings of Kapiladev and his mother is very confidential, and anyone who hears or reads this narration becomes a devotee of the Supreme Person of Godhead, who is carried by Garuda, and he therefore enters into the abode of the Supreme Lord to engage in transcendental loving service of the Lord. There ends the purport. Is also mentioning that there is no doubt that Devahuti, who had the Supreme Lord as her son and who followed the instructions of Kapiladev, attained the highest perfection of life. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 33 chapter of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled Activities of Kapila. End of the third canto also. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Any comments?
Krishna,
Anything
Prabhuji.
anyone want to add? Share? Yeah, we have completed one full canto.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yes, thank you for this nice narration. So, in the Shankar philosophy, she was meditating on the form of Vishnu,
Yeah.
the 400 Vishnu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we see that the Lord, I mean, there is a whole description that the Lord is maintainer of all the universes. And in this description, it is mentioned the Lord is in this 9-inch size. Lord is a 9-inch size. Heart, because he was meditating in all direction. Hare Krishna, I think it's network issue.
Yeah, unable to, could not hear.
Yeah. No, I was saying that in the way that Sankhya philosophy is explaining that the Lord is the source of everything. So while Devahuti was meditating on the form of the Lord Vishnu as well as on the form of her son, by meditating on both the forms, she attained perfection.
Yeah, okay. And she was also thinking of Kapil
Yeah.
Dev as Bhagwan.
Mhm.
And Kardama Muni gave her all the facilities after he left also.
Yeah.
When he left for the,
Yeah.
but she did not live in that house. Like,
No,
she
she
was
was there. She was there.
okay.
Yeah,
But she was living in all that, in all those facilities, but she was not attached. I mean, it
Yeah.
means.
Yeah. Yeah. So she had yeah, she understood what is essence, right? So she, of course, she is not ordinary. Yeah. When we go back to 6 chapters, we know that she is a saintly person. Yeah. This is also we refer here saintly Devahuti. She is saintly. Why? Because she is daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. Yeah. And not only that, she had all the best qualities of a woman, of a girl, all great qualities. Yeah. And Devahuti, when Kardama Muni was leaving, yeah, then she was saying, oh, she was thinking, I think I have done something very bad. Otherwise, I have a husband like Kardama Muni, who is, yeah, I think we didn't read that purport. It says that Kardama Muni's house was so nice that even the people who were flying, right, flying through his space, they were saying, envying, oh, even we don't have such nice houses. Where just imagine a pillow which is as soft as foam of a milk. I didn't want to especially talk about that on morning time, right? Then again we may go back to bed. So yeah, so she's saying, I mean, he's perfect mystic, and not only perfect mystic, he also has uh, gone for perfecting. So meditation, self-realization. So such a great husband. First of all, it's not so easy. And next thing is, she says that I have such a great son, like almost the Lord incarnated, right? This was a prayer, and it happened also. But what I don't, she's saying out of humility, she's saying, but I don't have the taste for all these things. That itself shows how great she is. So, which means all those facilities, whatever were arranged, I mean, if you recollect, right, there is a Prabhu, the whole, when the time came that Swayambhu Manu approached for marriage because of the marriage, he manifested everything out of his mystic power. And after that, and Devahuti was also very sincerely serving. It's not like, okay, I had a great privileged life from my birth, that I was the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, who has everything, yeah, all the facilities. No, but she sincerely, after her marriage, she was also living in the hermit, normal hermit. She was very, very sincerely serving. She was not taking care of her body. She was not keen on maintaining the beauty, what external beauty, but she was serving and serving. And because she was serving so much, that's why Kardama Muni said, I bestow whatever I have attained by all my mystic penances, I bestow all upon you. So in that way, she also was a great wife. She pleased. It's not that, okay, she's saying, oh, what kind of person I am. I'm not great, or I am conditioned. She was not conditioned. She was not taking care of herself, and she was only serving her husband. And she attained such great powers. Not only powers, she also got knowledge. So in that way, that is the reason, yeah, as Vidra was saying, right? What was he saying? So Maitreya was saying, the description of the dealings of Kapila Dev and his mother is very confidential, and anyone who hears or reads this narration becomes a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because they show this how to engage in a family life, how a husband should be. We see from Kardama Muni. We see how a wife should be. We see from Devahuti, and then we see how a son should be. By just going through this canto, we are blessed to get this understanding. Yeah, Hare Prabhu.
Yes, Guruji. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. So Falastuti is always nice, right? So we should actually first read the Falastuti and then begin the whole canto or the whole pastime reading. Yeah. Any other questions or comments? No? Then thank you so much for joining. Vanchakalpatarabhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Canto Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Hare Krishna.